why I became a photographer, amateur photographer as an artist is really to share with the others the experiences I had the opportunity to have in my life. It's already 29 years that I went the first time to the Amazon region, and shooting, photographing means a real experience into their culture and into their spirituality. From these almost 3 decades with my relationship with some indigenous communities and some ethnicities and my sustainable projects I developed there also as a designer, they invite me to participate into their rituals, to be involved with them. I like to involve them in my projects together because I think this is very important now. Because the way we, global society, see the indigenous cultures and spirituality, we looking like they are something that must be preserved in that way. They are living this contemporary world we are living, and they want to be recognized. They want to see their culture expressed to other cultures around the world. I'm an artist, so I love the aesthetics. I love to study what I can with anthropologists, what are the meanings of their symbols, their tattoos, the way they wear, the symbology of that. What they do through their bodies from centuries, it's about fashion. It's about expressing imagetically what they are. Their rituals, their spirituality, their culture, their relationships to nature or between them, their relationship with the cosmos, with the forest, their ethos. And for me, this is something interesting. I like to observe other cultures, the way we manifest ourselves imagetically, the way what we wear, how we keep our image representing our individual personality or the ethos of our society. It's a way you can be more focused into something and get a more intimate relationship. I think there is a kind of change. So I visited many different indigenous cultures, communities, and yes, I think they consider me a kind of part of them to express what they are. Something interesting that happened once with the Ashaninka tribes in the Acre region, state in Brazil, that's our border to the Peru, and they wanted to learn photograph. They asked me, Oskar, can you teach us to photograph? So when I was spending a week with them, I worked with them teaching, but with my analogic camera and automatic camera. But since that moment, I said we have to teach them what is photography, not just clicking it. And so we developed a project with my team, and the UNESCO is a partner, to give lessons, teaching them the photography. We had an exhibition about their pictures, from the young ones shooting more than the oldest one, and the way they see their own culture and the way they want to show it for us. It's an interesting exchange as a creator, as an artist, and it helps me to contact with them. We understand more and more their rituals, their symbologies, their needs, our needs, all together. At the same time, when you get into a relationship with them, I don't like to say them, but it's the way to express, to explain in an interview or to explain to someone. Because you can feel like what they understand spiritually, culturally, what they are. Being a Brazilian and living in Rio de Janeiro, I could very early to have this opportunity to be at the UN conference in Rio de Janeiro in 1992, that I consider, most of us, we consider the most important UN conference about sustainability, because It was the first time we didn't talk about preservation nature, but the sustainable development, environmental sustainable development, social and environmental sustainable development. This is what, for me, the great paradigm that we conquered by the end of the century, and it was who created the agenda for the 21st century. The vision was there. And I was still a young physician at that time, beginning my adventure to become a designer, as an artist, beginning my brand. I could, be touched by that, and it did help me to really have a very clear vision to what we are now here, to be in UNESCO conference now about that in 2023, more than 30 years later. And I have also the same opportunity in 1994. It was the first time I went to the Amazon. I went with some biologists, friends of mine from the Jardim Botânico in Rio de Janeiro. And I had the opportunity to see, with this concept in mind, to see the richness of our biodiversity, to see the concept and the richness of our ancestral culture that we have there. And on the same time, to be challenged and defeated by the old ways of economic development that us, global society, the only jobs we bring to the Amazon forest until now is gold mining, is illegal deforestation for logging, it's drug dealers, things. This is what we bring to the people for the forest. And so I could see the richness and the power of this in against. So you can't come from there without becoming an activist. And to me, how I can be an activist if I'm not in the forest? I thought that I can use the fashion, communication, the language as a cultural expression to express their culture in a way that we can work together and to talk, express the values of sustainable development, the values of the agenda of the 21st century, and etc. And also what's interesting about the fashion, it's not about only being one of the protagonists of the society behavior, like the art, cinema, theater, dance, etc. But also we, as designers, we transform natural commodities into utility and beauty pieces for society. And if we can transform commodities into that, why can't we transform in a social and environmental sustainable way the nature and the culture of the Amazon and the other biomes in Brazil, other cultures in Brazil and worldwide, into the fashion language and the transformation that fashion does. So I could see in that time that I'd love to be one of the protagonists of the 21st century on this new way of seeing our future of the planet. Since that, I'm always an optimist person. And in that way, I could begin with my projects at the small company that was. I quitted working as a physician at that time. I focused on my art and the design. And interesting that just in the beginning of the 2000s, after I had done some projects already on sustainable way, UNESCO Brazil, through Marlova Noleto, the actual our director representative in Brazil for UNESCO, UNESCO could see my work in that time. It was a very important accreditation to my work in that. We were really pioneering in that time. It's interesting also, my name Metsavaht means forest guardian in Estonian and Finnish. My heritage comes from Estonia. And we have to remember that Estonia is the country that has in Europe that has the largest amount of millenary forests preserved to now, different from the other Baltic countries. And from my grandparents who came from Estonia, and I always had an education through nature preservation and our relationship. So I'm a forest guardian, and I believe I'm on one of the Amazon gardens, trying to bring new economies, new kind of jobs, ethical jobs, with social impact and economic impact to the people from the forest. This is the way to keep the forest alive. It's very, very inspirational. If we see, we get very inspired by the nature, the exuberance of the nature. We act to society, we are looking more closer and with a more generous way to nature. To understand with the other cultures, with the new technologies on sustainability, the ways we can live, exploring in a good sense, but keeping for the next generations the nature as we have now or better. This is a great challenge for us. I think it brings to us new perspectives and new challenges. The adventure of the human being on this planet, we always have transformed in our desires the elements of the nature, using our science, philosophy, art, now technology, and now I believe spirituality. That's why I'm an optimist. I think we have changed. I don't believe that the nations, the governments have changed since Rio 1992, but I think as society we have changed. I really think that institutions, private institutions, not private institutions, have changed. I like to say that on the last 2 decades, the companies, the entrepreneurs became the real activists. Why I'm very proud of being one Goodwill Ambassador for Sustainability at UNESCO, because I really think it's the institution that holds the history of the human civilization and projects our future through this vision that UNESCO has. I always like to say to everybody, even for us at UNESCO, what means UNESCO? It's wonderful because it's United Nations for Education, Science, and Culture. It's like a Renaissance thinking. And we are living a kind of a new Renaissance moment in the global society, in the planet. That's why I think so important conferences like that, and be involved with UNESCO and other institutions, and with my own teams, to be protagonists of this change for this new millennium is something very romantic trajectory for everybody. It's an opportunity to be involved. I really think that artists contemporarily, we have to help to capture the spirit of the moment and bring reflections, bring new thinkings for society, to touch the spirit of the society into this spirituality of preservation, our closest to nature, how to develop ourselves with the nature, exploring it in the good sense for the next generations. So this is, as an artist, I believe that we can be valuable for society. As a designer, as I said before, it's to understand, to see, to understand Rio from the seed to the whole biodiversity, understand where we can use and help our knowledge in design into developing new fibers, new dye process, new kind of leathers, new ways of upcycling and things like that. So we can really transform the economics and the consumerism into a new era. On sustainability, I think with this my job, I would say, as a UNESCO Goodwill Ambassador for Sustainability, to spread the word on with these optimists, not a naive optimist, but with the vision of how us as society, organized society, with a direction from an institution like UNESCO, other ones, we have a very clear optimist space in our front.